What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, January 2nd, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 15:34 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and also I wanted to update you guys on the strange situation in New Orleans, the ISIS attack, and also the Cybertruck explosion outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. We have some very interesting facts now about the perpetrators in New Orleans and at the Trump Hotel. Very strange situation unfolding. But before I get into all that, I want to update you guys on what's going on overseas. So what you're looking at here is an air raid alert map of Ukraine, and this was at around 2:30 p.m. local time in Ukraine, so that's 14:30 local time in Ukraine, and so that would have been around 07:30 Eastern time in the United States, so earlier this morning. And you can see the entire country was lit up under an air raid alert, and there was a threat of an Oreshnik strike again. This is the second time in the last few days that Ukraine was lit up like this due to an Oreshnik threat. Okay, so something is brewing at Kapustin Yar, and obviously NATO has really good satellites, and they're monitoring Kapustin Yar, which is the missile launch site that Russia used to launch the Oreshnik the first time. The Oreshnik is an intermediate range ballistic missile, also known as the RS-26 Rubezh, which is just a shortened version of the RS-24 Yars, which is an ICBM. The RS-24 Yars is a three-stage solid-fueled rocket, and the RS-26 Rubezh just removes one stage or one rocket booster, so it only has two rocket boosters instead of three. So that gives it a maximum range of up to about 3,000 or 4,000 miles. But this is very, very serious, guys. It does appear that Russia is planning something big for Ukraine and possibly the Baltics. Just because nothing happened on New Year's Day doesn't mean that Putin doesn't have a trick up his sleeve. So we have to continue to monitor this part of the world. And White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan presented Biden with options for a potential U.S. attack on Iran's nuclear facilities if the Iranians move towards a nuclear weapon before Trump gets officially sworn in as president on January 20th. And apparently they had a meeting about this several weeks ago that remained secret until now. Three sources with knowledge of the issue told Axios, okay? So this is very, very concerning. And we know that Jake Sullivan had a meeting with Trump and Trump's administration about the Iranian nuclear threat, and we know that Trump himself called for strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. Okay, so we could potentially see this massive denuclearization strike on Iran either now before Trump gets sworn in, or during the Trump administration. Trump could authorize this massive denuclearization campaign and do it in conjunction with Israel. We'll have to wait and see. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video. And it appears that Ukraine used atacams on Russia. Again, atacams is short for the Army Tactical Missile System. It's a short-range ballistic missile developed for the U.S. Army. And Ukraine now has dozens, potentially hundreds of them. And so Ukraine used the atacams on the 810th Marine Brigade of the Russian Navy in the Ivanovskaya region of Kursk. Okay, so Ukraine using atacams on Russia again today. And the Russian military operational headquarters in Kursk said 5 Ukrainian missiles were shot down by air defenses today over the Kursk region. Okay, so 5 Ukrainian missiles shot down so far, and we know that there was this massive strike on the 810th Marine Brigade of the Russian Navy, and there is video footage out there on social media. Unfortunately, I cannot share it here on YouTube, but it looks like basically an entire city block was reduced to rubble in this Ukrainian atacam strike. And we have some major breaking news coming in from D.C. U.S. Capitol Police placed the U.S. Capitol on lockdown earlier this afternoon after a suspicious vehicle was spotted driving outside the U.S. Capitol. U.S. Capitol Police responded to a suspicious vehicle near Constitution Avenue and 3rd Street Northwest. The vehicle was reported to be driving erratically onto a sidewalk, leading to the area being locked down for investigation. A man was taken into custody, and the public is urged to avoid the area as an investigation is ongoing. So here's the official tweet from the U.S. Capitol Police on X. You can see here they write, before 10 a.m., our officers spotted a car that had been driving along the sidewalk near Peace Circle and onto the grassy area near 3rd Street Northwest and Constitution Avenue. Wow. So very strange situation over there. And here we have a local news reporter showing the scene earlier this afternoon.
Hey there, this is Joseph Omo with NBC4. We are right outside of the Capitol, and you see all of those flashing police lights over there, the firefighters, the ambulances. Capitol Police just tweeted out about 15 minutes ago that they are investigating a suspicious vehicle. That is all we know, but they are pushing the perimeter out. You can see officers over here closing off the walkways to 3rd Street Northwest here as they continue this investigation. We're going to keep you updated, and we're going to have a live report on News 4 at midday at 11 o'clock in about half an hour.
Wow, so they're pushing out the perimeter. Absolutely insane. You can see all these police vehicles here in this one area near Peace Circle. Absolutely insane. And we currently have a U.S. missile detecting and tracking plane airborne over the Sea of Japan. And this is the second day in a row that the U.S. has deployed a Cobra Ball to the Sea of Japan. And they've deployed this plane to the Sea of Japan several times in the last week or so. And what this tells me is that the U.S. is anticipating either a North Korean or Chinese missile test. So they're deploying this plane so they can track the trajectory of it and any pertinent details related to the missile. We also have a U.S. Navy reconnaissance drone patrolling the area north of Taiwan, which is very, very interesting and unusual. And we know that Chinese President Xi Jinping said in his New Year's address that Taiwan and China are one, and that nothing can stop reunification with the mainland, okay? So I do believe that potentially this year, China could make their big move on Taiwan. We'll have to wait and see how Trump handles China, but not looking good over there. We also have 2 nuclear war command and control planes airborne over the continental United States. And we also had some very unusual aerial refueler activity this afternoon in Pennsylvania, not too far from where I live in the Pennsylvania wilds. Very remote location of northern Pennsylvania. This is an area about the size of Massachusetts that has nothing but national and state forests and wilderness areas. And these aerial refuelers were looping here in the Pennsylvania wilds for some reason, refueling something, not sure what. Obviously, it was dark because there was no other military plane in the area, so it had its transponder turned off. And yesterday, you can see here, another Cobra ball flew to the Sea of Japan, and there was also South Korean reconnaissance planes patrolling the border with North Korea. So I want to update you guys on the situation in New Orleans and also with the Trump Hotel. What's interesting is both of these perpetrators were U.S. Army veterans, and I'm just wondering if they were not part of some kind of mind control program like MK Ultra. What you're looking at here is a picture of the New Orleans attacker, and he was apparently in the IT team of the 82nd Airborne. He was the team chief. He was a staff sergeant, okay, team chief of information technology for the 82nd Airborne Division's 1st Brigade combat team. Okay, so this guy was very, very smart. Okay, think of him as like a chief technology officer for the 82nd Airborne's 1st Brigade combat team. That's a big deal. If you don't know what a brigade combat team is, it's literally like a mini army. Okay, thousands of soldiers with their own embedded tanks and artillery and special ops, everything you can imagine. So it's like a mini army in and of itself. And he was the chief technology officer, basically, of that brigade. Okay, staff sergeant, obviously not an idiot. And then the guy who exploded the Cybertruck outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas was a Green Beret, a decorated Green Beret with over 20 years in the Special Forces. Okay, so this makes me wonder if something weird isn't going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Here we have a press conference from earlier today where the FBI said that there is no evidence that the New Orleans attacker was being assisted by anybody else, basically saying that maybe ISIS was not involved in this. He was basically just a radicalized lone wolf. Let me play this for you.
I want to be clear on. We do not assess at this point that anyone else involved in this attack is involved in this attack except for Shamsuddin Jabbar, the subject you've already been briefed on.
Kind of weird how he stumbled when he was talking. He said, at this time, we have no evidence that anybody else involved in this attack was involved in this attack. It's like he had a brain fart while he was speaking, but he's definitely not a lone wolf. Obviously, there were people helping him out. Okay, this was a very sophisticated attack, and whether he was the subject of some kind of a mind control experiment or whether he was a radicalized ISIS guy, I am not sure. But it's very strange that both of the attacks in New Orleans and at the Trump Hotel occurred on New Year's Day, both by experienced U.S. Army soldiers. And here's a picture of the guy who attacked the Trump Hotel. And what's really weird is that he was supporting Ukraine. He was a big supporter of Ukraine. This has false FLAG written all over it, okay? So here you can see him wearing a Ukrainian Trident t-shirt. And let me just show you some posts here on social media. So he said that he knew somebody who was a top 18D looking for an opportunity to basically work on a 30-day contract, a military contract, private military operator for $550 per day, lodging and travel included. He said he knew somebody, so he was connecting people that he knew he served with to scouts in Ukraine looking for experienced military operators. And here's his background. You can see this picture of him here. It looks like he was on some kind of a mountain training exercise here. He's got the snow camo, and you can see U.S. Army Greater Colorado Springs area. And his name's Matt Livelsberger. And you can see here he was an 18Z, an 18F, and an 18E. Okay, so very decorated. Communication specialist, intelligence specialist, and a team leader. Okay, that is absolutely insane. So this guy wasn't some idiot. Okay, he was obviously smart, and it's just really strange to me. Okay, it's really strange. And congressional leadership and several House and Senate committee members are getting an FBI briefing now on the Vegas and New Orleans incidents. Speaker Mike Johnson asked the FBI why they were not more prepared to see these kinds of incidents ahead of time, per a source on the call. And according to New Orleans police, the death toll is up to 14, guys. 14 people dead. Absolutely insane. And the Houston area mosque that was attended by the New Orleans attacker has instructed its members to not respond to inquiries by the media, and if approached by the FBI, to refer them to the Council on American Islamic Relations. Wow. So a very strange situation. And the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, who fled to Moscow, was reportedly poisoned on Sunday and was treated in his apartment. His condition is now stable. This was reported by a Russian source on Telegram known as General SVR. Okay, so Assad poisoned on Sunday. And in Transnistria, all industrial operations have stopped due to the shutting down of Russian gas through Ukraine. So Putin's definitely not going to be happy about that. And Israel is planning to build 24 permanent military bases on Lebanese and Syrian soil along the Israeli border and on Mount Hermon, according to Israeli Channel 14, citing senior Israeli officials who said that unless Trump objects, the bases are there to stay forever. 12 outposts will be built on Lebanese soil along the border with Israel, one opposite from each Israeli settlement, and 9 outposts will be built in the territory of Syria, 2 of which will be in the former Syrian Mount Hermon. And Israeli Air Force fighter jets destroyed a medium-range missile launcher in Lebanon earlier today. And the Israeli military confirmed on Thursday that dozens of its troops were flown to Syria in September to destroy an underground missile factory funded by Iran. The military, which rarely comments on its activities inside Syria, said in a statement that the September 8th raid involved more than 100 Israeli commandos who dismantled the facility in the Masyaf area near the Mediterranean coast. In a statement on Thursday, the military said the underground factory in Masyaf included advanced assembly lines designed to manufacture precision-guided missiles and long-range rockets for Lebanon's Hezbollah and other Iranian terror proxies in the region. Troops were flown in by helicopter with fire and intelligence gathering support from aircraft, fighter jets, and naval vessels, it said. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the raid underscored Israel's resolve to carry out operations anywhere to defend itself. This is one of the most important counteractions we have taken against the Iranian Axis's attempts to arm itself in order to harm us, and it demonstrates our determination and audacity to act anywhere to protect ourselves, Netanyahu said in a statement. Military spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani said this precision-guided missile factory was dug in the side of a mountain underground in the area of Masyaf. Most components, in fact, were sourced from Iran for precision-guided missiles and surface-to-surface missiles. The factory had the capacity to manufacture hundreds of missiles a year, Shoshani added. The facility was created and supervised by Iran's Revolutionary Guards. Wow. Okay, so massive underground missile factory destroyed by Israeli Special Operations on September the 8th. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with another update. I will be monitoring all of these situations, and I'm still on very high alert for a possible Oreshnik strike by Russia on Ukraine. Russia's definitely not happy about the gas supplies being cut off to Europe. Okay, and I will be monitoring all the latest with the New Orleans situation and the Trump hotel situation and updating you guys accordingly. I will be in and out of the 24/7 live stream throughout the rest of the evening and tonight. If you haven't checked out my 24/7 stream, I recommend you do. It's basically just a live stream that goes on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I post updates throughout the day in the chat, and I periodically check in. And also, you can follow the nuclear forces on the flight trackers, and you can listen to the radio frequencies of the U.S. nuclear forces and Russian nuclear forces, and you can listen to everything happening in real time. So until the next time, take care. God bless. Happy New Year. And don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.